A warm welcome to one and all. Students, let us view this picture. Yes, it is a market scenario. People are busy buying and selling goods. Sellers are trying to sell their products at the highest possible price. That is, they are interested in making profit. This buying and selling of goods and services are called trade. Students, today in our history lesson, we will study about the British who came to India as traders but ended up ruling our beautiful country, India. Students, do you know that the Britishers travelled by a new sea route to India? That means there was a land route, isn't it? Well, then what happened to this land route? What made the Europeans find a new sea route to India? Earlier, the European traders traveled to Asia by land. But after the capture of Constantinople by the Turks in 1453, this trade route was almost closed for the European traders. And the only option left with the European traders to find a new sea route to the east. During this time, East India Company, meaning an English joint stock company that had its headquarters in London, was started to trade with the East, especially with China and India. This company acquired a charter, means an agreement from Queen Elizabeth I to trade with the East. This meant that no other trading group in England could compete with the East India Company. Thus, it became the monopoly over the trade in the East. However, this was only in writing. But in reality, there were so many other traders like the Portuguese, the French, the Dutch who were competing with the East India Company. This led to the rise in the price of various Indian goods that were in great demand, especially fine qualities of cotton and silk produced in India: pepper, cloves, cardamom and cinnamon. This resulted in the reduction of the profit margin. To solve this problem, all the trading units began to suppress one another, so much so that they even sank each other's ships. This East India Company's, the first English factory, was set up on the bank of River Hooghly in 1651. The factory had a warehouse where goods for export were stored, and it had offices where company officials sat. As trade expanded, the company persuaded merchants and traders to come and settle near the factory. By 1696, it began building a fort around the settlement. 2 years later, it bribed Mughal officials into giving the company zamindari rights over 3 villages. One of these was Calcutta, which later knew as Calcutta. It also persuaded the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb to issue a firman granting the company the right to trade duty-free. Students, let us make a list of things that the East India Company managed to acquire in India. Yes, first, it set up its first factory on the bank of the river Hooghly. Second, it had a warehouse. Third, it persuaded merchants and traders to settle near the factory. Fourth, it bribed the Mughal officials and took zamindari rights over 3 villages. And the fifth, it persuaded Emperor Aurangzeb and took firman under which the company could trade duty-free. Students, last year we have studied that Aurangzeb was the last of the powerful Mughal rulers. After his death, many Mughal governors declared themselves as independent and established their own regional kingdom. Among them was Murshid Quli Khan, the Nawab of Bengal. Now, let us look into the situation of Bengal. This place is very important for us because the company's factory was set up on the bank of river Hooghly. East India Company had the firman of Aurangzeb to trade duty-free. But here the company's officials started misusing this firman. They started using this firman in their private trade too, thus resulting in a great loss to the Nawab of Bengal. How could the Nawab of Bengal keep quiet? This resulted in conflict between the Nawab and the East India Company. Finally, this was the cause of the Battle of Plassey. Now, let us see in a nutshell what was the immediate cause of the Battle of Plassey. Students, look at the list of the Nawab of Bengal. Murshid Quli Khan, who was followed by Alivardi Khan and Siraj-ud-Dawla. When Siraj-ud-Dawla was the Nawab of Bengal, the East India Company was keen on having a puppet ruler who will in turn satisfy all company's demands. So, they started helping one of Siraj-ud-Dawla's rival to become the Nawab. This angered the Nawab and he put forth his 3 demands before the company. His first demand was not to interfere in the political affairs. Second, he demanded that the company should stop fortification. And the third one is he forced the company to pay revenue. After negotiation failed, after the demands were not satisfied or not fulfilled, the Nawab marched with 30,000 soldiers to the English factory at Qasim Bazar and captured the company officials, locked the warehouse, disarmed all Englishmen, and blockaded English ships. Then he marched to Calcutta to establish control over the company's fort there. Students, whenever we take any action, there is always equal and opposite reaction. So let us see what was the effect of Siraj-ud-Dawla's actions. On hearing the news of the fall of Calcutta, company officials in Madras sent forces under the command of Robert Clive, reinforced by naval fleets. Prolonged negotiations with the Nawab followed. Finally, in 1757, Robert Clive led the company's army against Siraj-ud-Dawla at Plassey. One of the main reasons for the defeat of the Nawab was that the forces led by Mir Jafar, one of Siraj-ud-Dawla's commander, never fought the battle because Clive had managed to get his support by promising him that he will make him the next Nawab of Bengal. The Battle of Plassey became famous because it was the first major victory the company won in India. Soon, the company realized that the puppet Nawabs too were not very supportive. This is because the Nawab too had to maintain dignity and sovereignty if they wanted respect from their subjects. After the defeat at Plassey, Siraj-ud-Dawla was assassinated and Mir Jafar made the Nawab. When Mir Jafar protested, the company deposed him and installed Mir Qasim in his place. When Mir Qasim complained, he in turn was defeated in the battle fought at Buxar, driven out of Bengal, and Mir Jafar was reinstalled. The Nawab had to pay 5 lakhs rupees every month, but the company wanted more money to finance its wars and meet the demands of trade and its other expenses. It wanted more territories and more revenue. By the time Mir Jafar died in 1765, the mood of the company had changed. Having failed to work with puppet Nawabs, Clive declared, "We must indeed become Nawab ourselves." Students, by now you must have noticed that though the Britishers came to India as traders, they were very diplomatic. This diplomacy helped them to get rid of Nawabs in Bengal and to establish company's rule in India. That's all for today. See you again in the next class. Till then, goodbye.